There is no good reason you should have to be a citizen to vote. There is no good reasons, and nobody is able to come up with one. That most people, most American citizens, don't even vote in local and state level elections. They don't care. So the Daily Caller posted a screen cap of this New York Times article. Everyone is mad at you at this moment? Yeah. They are. And I'm being ratioed like a motherfucker. 28 conservatives that are super fucking pissed. Like one reasonable person in there, but, Anyway, so they posted a screen cap of this New York Times article. There is no good reason you should have to be a citizen to vote. Now, if we search this up, there is no good reason. Oh my God. Reason. There we go. I've searched it before. Sweet. This New York Times article. We can go over this super, super fast because we don't have to do a whole lot of this. Let's see here. Right here. Nearly 15 million people living legally in the United States, most of whom contribute as much as any natural-born American to this country's civic, cultural, and economic life, don't have a say in matters of politics and policy because we, resident foreign nationals, or aliens as we are sometimes called, cannot vote. This right here is the entire point of the article, is that there are people who are here legally. By the way, I'll be idle from now on, but I'll make an occasional comment if I get something to say. I got you. Yeah, there are 15 million people that are living in the United States that are legally here, that they did all of the proper paperwork and they got here into the United States legally, and they are allowed to work and pay taxes and do all kinds of shit. But for some reason, whenever conservatives see non-citizen or like any kind of idea that isn't a citizen, they automatically assume that these people are illegal immigrants, which is it's kind of telling, isn't it? Isn't that strange that they would fill in the blank like that? Where I am absolutely 100% certain that the Daily Caller screen capped this article exactly the way it was because they knew that their base would fill in the blanks and assume that non-citizen meant illegal immigrant as implied, which somebody actually said that. Now, I said that my brother-in-law is a Britbonger. I say Britbonger. He's from Wales, and he's been here for like 3 years, and he pays taxes, and he, is a law-abiding, flag saluting, pledge reciting, all of the American stuff, right? And he's been married to my twin for like 3 years in the United States. I live in Tucson, Arizona, 50 miles from the border. It's insane that people are being denied to vote. If you're here, you get a voice. I mean, really, that's really all it comes down to. That's my whole point, is that they are a demographic of people that are in the United States, and they don't have representation, and so they pay taxes on their income, and then they don't get any representation because they're not allowed to have any say. Now, I'm not like a completely open borders type of guy. I think that there should be certain restrictions, but I think that it should be much, much more streamlined. That people who come into the U.S., like, I don't think it should be anything more than like, you walk in, they check you for like diseases or something like that. Make sure that you're not like have any ties to weird terrorist groups or anything like that. And it'll be a couple of weeks or something like that. If you aren't deemed safe to be in the United States for any reason, if you have a sponsor family or something like that, then I don't see the reason why. And like, there is no good reason you should have to be a citizen to vote is a really, really funny headline, because there is no good reasons and nobody is able to come up with one. So I say, my brother-in-law has been here for years and he should be allowed to vote. And they say, well, he needs to become a citizen. And I'm like, but why? Why? That's the question here, is why do they have to be a citizen? The U.S. was built by people running from trouble since the beginning. Yeah, I mean, we're a country founded by immigrants, really. A couple of people saying the quiet part out loud this Nigward guy especially, where he jumps in here and he says that making our country more ghetto. I don't want HB1 losers here. And whatever. And I don't understand why he just says that he doesn't want any more immigration. And that's really interesting. Then the quiet part, the mask slips. Oh, did he delete it? What? There it is. Founded by white Europeans. Not Mexicans, Indians, or Chinese people, white Europeans. So this is clearly, I don't mind allowing voting in local or state elections for foreign legal residents, but not national. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I feel like local and state elections, because they will pay federal taxes. If they have a work visa and they have a W-2 job, my brother-in-law doesn't. He doesn't have a work visa. He's not allowed to. He has income over the internet and then files through a 1099, but he pays federal taxes and he follows federal laws and he is subject to our rules on a federal level. So I don't understand why he wouldn't be allowed to vote. If he has been deemed a safe resident and he's a legal resident of the United States, I don't understand why we have such a restriction on citizenship, or that we don't allow these people to vote because like I said, they are a demographic who are not represented. Allegiance to a foreign entity could be a valid reason to restrict it. That's not true, because we have allowed dual citizenship to vote forever. My youngest brother is a dual citizen of Portugal and the U.S., and he is allowed to vote. So that is that's actually not true. That we're not really actually worried about allegiance to a foreign entity in that regard. So a lot of racism in here. A lot of people just assuming that non-citizen means brown person that is here illegally or some shit like that. A lot of people questioning whether or not that they can pay taxes, which is really interesting. And then this is really fucking funny. Yes, legal citizens have the right to vote. The article is talking about illegal citizens. That's fucking hysterical. When they're not talking about illegal citizens, that doesn't, I don't understand how that works. But even then, they're talking about legal residents. And so I don't understand what the fucking problem is. Call it a benefit of going to the trouble of becoming a citizen. Don't become a problem. Don't have a problem with dual citizenship. That's a special case. Well, the problem is, if you say it's a benefit of going through the trouble of becoming a citizen, it should be streamlined. But the problem is that my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law has been here for years and years, and he's trying to become a citizen, but it takes years. In this article, I'm pretty sure that they talk about how they became a citizen and are now allowed to vote. And yes, see, it took me 15 years and over $10,000 in legal fees to obtain permanent residency, this citizenship test, and yada, yada, yada. So my brother-in-law started this journey of becoming an American in 2016. This was 5 years ago already. It took him 2 years to get here because he had to go through medical screening and all that shit. And he just couldn't get in. So he couldn't get into the country. Once he was allowed into the country, and he was granted permanent residency, then I don't understand why he shouldn't be allowed to vote, because it takes forever. And so what we're having, and this is kind of my problem, Camelid, is that if it takes 15 years for a person to become a citizen, then that is 15 years that a person that is, part of this 15 million people, there's a huge demographic of people that are taxed, that don't have representation. They are subject to all of our laws and everything, but they're not allowed to have a voice. They don't, we vote in our best interests, and it only stands to reason that there is a demographic of people here that are not allowed to basically voice their opinion or have whatever. And one of the really funniest responses here is, it's insane how, wait, federal rules are a morass. I don't know what the streamlining is a problem to address. That's my whole thing, is that it really should be a streamlined process. I think that if you're in this country and you are granted legal residency, then it should be a streamlined process. It should not take years and years and years. I think that on the homeland of the Department of Homeland Security, I'm pretty sure, says that if everything goes perfectly, it'll take like 18 to 24 months. So it's a year and a half to 2 years in order to become a citizen. And that's if everything goes perfectly and you have like the best immigration lawyer of all time. And so at a minimum, it takes a year and a half to 2 years. And if you're in our situation where we don't have unlimited funds, and then he's kind of stuck in this situation where he is a demographic in the United States that is subject to all of our laws and pays all of his taxes, and is not allowed to have a voice. And I think that's really fucked up. But since local and state level politicians have much more influence on individuals and families, that's the most important place for them to have a say. Absolutely. But the thing is that most American citizens don't even vote in local and state level elections. They don't care. Like, all they care about is national politics. If I had got on to this stream and I started talking about strictly and only Oklahoma politics, then like almost no one would have any idea of what I'm talking about. If I were to talk about our issues with the governor and teaching and all of that shit, then because we've had a long problem with teachers in Oklahoma, then nobody would know what the fuck I'm talking about, and it would become whatever. Now it would be pretty base to like have like a community networks type of stream and like try to figure that kind of shit out. I've raised money for certain organizations like the Oklahoma Food Bank and all that. But for the most part, local politics, nobody cares. So, I started blocking people. But this was the first one. They broke our immigration laws to get in, so no. Which is weird because, like, my brother-in-law was invited to live here. They should. It's dumb to ignore them. Don't get me started on Rogers County. Absolutely. Oh my God. Everybody, like, people who don't pay attention in local politics, that complain about the police, but that's a whole separate segment. They complain about the police, but the police are not like a federal thing. That's all state and local level. And it's crazy. Where is the one? There was one that's really fucking funny. So if I bought it, this fucking guy. So if I walk into your house and do the dishes, I get a say in what movie we watch and where we go to eat. And yes, if you're invited to my house and you do my dishes, yeah, I think you've earned the right to voice your opinion. And then they say, well, what if I'm not invited? Well, I'm not in favor of illegal immigration. I've never said, nothing in this article said anything about illegal immigration. And it's really fucking funny to me. And so Cupcake, he kept calling me Cupcake. So I guess Cupcake 1, Love and War 0, because like it's unbelievable to me. I just feel like every demographic should have a voice. If you are a legal resident and you are recognized by the United States, if you participate in the census, if you pay your taxes, and you are a law-abiding, resident in the United States, then you should have a say. And if that means, at least to start, local and state level elections or in that kind of or props or whatever, then that's fine too. Even if the restriction was just, okay, no national politics, you know what? I can get on board with that because that's better than what we have now, where they have no voice whatsoever. I think that's really fucked up. Now, I think there are some places, and it's really funny to me also that people kept saying stuff like, well, what other country on the planet allows non-citizens to vote? And New Zealand Citizen voting. I'm pretty sure that they allow. New Zealand is a democratic country in which citizens and eligible resident visa holders who are aged 18 years or older are required to enroll to vote. Voting is not compulsory, but turnout is high by international standards. So, eligible resident visa holders. So they allow non-citizens to vote. And so there are some countries that allow non-citizens to vote. And I think New Zealand is the most lax about it, if I remember correctly. I haven't done a whole lot of reading into that because it's kind of irrelevant. I don't give a fuck what other countries do. Other countries, don't allow their women to drive. That doesn't mean we need to model ourselves after that. Because I'm sorry, I thought we lived in the greatest country on the planet. So we're going to lead the world on this kind of shit.